Hi, welcome to another episode of Rooftop Conversations with May. So today's guest is probably one of my favorite people in the whole entire world. And no, it's not only because he's also the biggest Simpsons fan that I know, aside from me, but this person really, I met him in probably the most interesting place I've ever been in my life. And I'm gonna let film producer, like he has like a whole bunch of stuff. So he's a film producer, he does photography. I'm gonna let my dear friend Matt Ramirez introduce himself. So Matt, take it away.
Hello, I'm Matthew Ramirez. May pretty much covered it. I work in film, photography. I do a lot of post production in like editing and stuff like that as well. Not only that, I'm very interested in running, cooking, and then also woodworking as well. Yeah, just like center.
No, Matt's like literally the coolest guy ever. We instantaneously like vibed off each other the second I met him. That Matt's like my boy. Like he really is like one of the few guys that I can like really trust, and like we still talk every day. Like we met 4 years ago. No, oh my god, it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years
It's
since
been a
we met.
while.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it's been 4 years since we met, and like we still talk and everything. So, Matt, like, what? Okay, Matt's also okay. By the way, for people watching at home, Matt is also on his rooftop just for this. So this is literally like the double feature rooftop conversation right now. So Matt, if you could tell like people how we met and what was your first, like, your honest first impression of
So, me being a person, I'm very inclusive. I like to include everyone in conversation. May, this is really embarrassing, but to be honest with you, I don't entirely remember how we met. I do know it was at Ann Taylor. I assume it was either in the stock room or on the floor, and I assume I asked you a question like, "What's your opinion about Kanye West?" Because everyone has an opinion about him or had an opinion about him, and I like that's what I assume. And then like we just started talking right away. And I, May, you were just like so kind and so funny, and just like your mannerisms and like how you moved around and stuff like that. I just instantaneously like gravitated towards you, and like we would always just constantly joke around. It was great. I loved it.
it? Actually, okay. So I do
Okay,
remember
tell
how
me,
we first met.
how
We
did we
did.
first
Okay.
meet?
How did we first meet? Okay. So like you said, so Matt and I worked both at Ann Taylor. And okay, I'll say it. I feel like we've already disclosed it. We worked at a retail store in Fifth Avenue, Ann Taylor. And this video is not sponsored by them. We have any affiliation. We both have not worked there in a while. um, so Matt and I worked there, and I worked at the store probably for 4 months while I was in between law school and undergrad, and I just didn't know what to do. I had student loans to pay off. Decided to take a gig up at Ann Taylor. It was one of the most memorable experiences of my life, but memorable. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say memorable for the purposes of this show. But I met some of the greatest people there, and Matt was definitely one of them. And we
Oh,
met because I was in front of the store. It was like my first week at the store. I was super nervous and like intimidated because I was like, oh, so I'm like, so a lot of the girls who worked there were like into fashion. They were like very fashionable. Everyone kind of had the same like job career path, and I'm there like, yeah, I'm gonna go to law school in a couple months, and like I'm all like this like nerdy, like I was this like nerdy girl. Like everyone was like basically a model type person. I'm walking in like, okay, I definitely don't belong here. And Matt was like the first person to be like, "Hi, I'm Matt. Like, let me talk to you. Let me be nice to you." And I'm like, "Oh my god." So that front of the store, I think you did ask me about my opinion on Kanye. And then
yeah,
you
yeah,
also mentioned, and the reason why we bonded was you said you like knew someone in your family. I'm not going to disclose who, but someone in your family worked in politics, and I wanted to
yes,
go into
yes,
politics.
yes,
So
yes, yes,
you and
yes.
I
Now I
bonded off
remember.
of that. And I'm like, okay, this guy is like the nicest person so far in the store. Like, he's the only one that talks to me aside from like supervising managers and things like that. And
Yeah,
till this day, Matt's literally like my guy. Then we find out you like The Simpsons, and I'm like,
love.
okay,
Yeah,
love The Simpsons, and like that's my favorite show in the whole wide world. No one else likes it except for like, I don't know. It's like a weird niche like show everyone
yeah.
like talks about. So it's like there's
I
not that many
definitely.
fans.
Do you have like a small little circuit of friends who like loves The Simpsons, or is it pretty much just you for the most part?
So it's you and one of my friends from like that I met in high school. So it's literally you
Yeah.
two that I send all the Simpsons memes to, like all the Instagram posts. Right? And then like my circle of friends, they think I'm like so weird. They're like, I don't. They're like, yeah, we watched it as kids, but like I don't get it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. The Simpsons is a
No.
cultural phenomenon. Okay, do not.
Yeah.
It is. Oh my god, like it definitely is. We can go on and on. Like we'll definitely talk about this later in our episode, but so like yeah, that's how Matt and I met. It was like friendship at first sight. Like I've never like clicked with someone so instantaneously, and like Matt's like such a warm person. I can go on about how much and like for the viewers, can I tell them what you did? It was my
Yeah.
birth. So we're filming this episode 4 days out past my birthday, and Matt decided to sing his own version of "Happy Birthday, Lisa" from season three's Simpsons episode, the one that was like unfortunately removed because of the whole the Finding Neverland scandal. And Matt did his own rendition of "Happy Birthday, Lisa" for me, and I was like, "That's like the nicest thing ever." So this is literally a ride or die right here. But anyway, enough about my life. Matt, tell people about so like what why did you go into like the photography field, like filmmaking? What about that really interests you, and like how did you get there?
So what it was my aunt who I just remember like growing up, my aunt, every time I would go over to my grandma's house, my aunt would always like play movies for us, and like she would always like sit down with me, watch movies, and it was really her. She was the one who got me interested into like filmmaking and photography and stuff like that. And like I never really knew what I wanted to pursue, like going into college. I just knew I wanted to do something in that field. So then like developing skills and stuff like that, and then I just like pretty much had a hand on everything throughout school. I was able to touch on everything, and then my main focus transitioned more so into post production, into editing, and stuff like that. So it just like kind of naturally evolved from that one base of like my aunt just yeah watching movies with me, and something so simple as that.
So like what was the movie that kind of sparked it all for you? Because like I feel like every um filmmaker has that one inspirational movie. So what was that? What was okay? Or TV show? Like what was it for you that like launched this whole interest?
So it's gonna be funny because one movie in particular like really sticks out. It's the movie Wes Craven's Scream. So I remember when that came out. That came out in the '90s, I believe, and like
Yeah.
I was young. I was maybe like 6 years old or something like that when it came out on VHS. And my uncle, he was like, hey, we should watch Scream. Put it on for the boys. And then my aunt was like, they're too little. They're not gonna like. They're gonna get too scared. And my brother was like, no, I'm not too little. You know, I could watch it. And then so me being the youngest, following his lead, said, yeah, let's do it. Why not? I was terrified, and my aunt was like, yeah, we should just turn it off. But then outside of that, like growing up watching so like the Pixar movies, like when they first came out. So it was I mean Toy Story was obviously the biggest one, but it held something to me because like the emotional connection that you can have to with a cartoon and with animation, that was something that had a huge impact on my life, and like just creating stories and telling stories in that way. I thought it was very interesting and something that I would definitely want to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that I like definitely agree. I It's so weird because I'm probably like the most like non-creative person you'll ever meet. Like I'm it's getting better because, with my academic career being over, I'm like tiptoeing into I mean, clearly I'm doing the show. There's like some
Yeah, I
creative
was gonna say,
elements
look at
to
this.
it. But like I agree. I think like the arts and like visual work and film and all of that, like you said, there's a story to it. People like it can change lives, it can change ideas. It has like so much more power than people think it does. I mean, it
Yep.
carries. But it's like, and it's just interesting because like not everyone can do it. I know for me, like even just working on this show, I'm like, I'm really in awe and like I really admire so many like content creators, whether like you're doing it like on a small scale like YouTube or something more larger like making a feature film. There's
Yeah.
a lot of work that goes into it. Like oh my god, I'm like really like I admire what people do. Like I'm like you guys really do a lot of work, and like
Yeah.
it's a lot more than like what people think and everything. Even if you're just doing YouTube, there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so like what like I mean like I just want to know like what are some like the biggest challenges that you've had in your career in regards to like filmmaking and producing and like especially with post production and all of that, and then some of the biggest lessons that you've learned.
So a lot of the things that I've come into, like the biggest obstacles that I've faced, probably just like motivation, like keeping myself inspired. So because I know like how monotonous the job can be, and just like constantly sitting there staring at the same thing, working on the same scene for like days on end or like hours on end, and you're just like, you just get tired of it, and then sometimes you just want to like put together whatever you can and then just send it on its way. Uh, that's definitely one of the biggest challenges. Like getting people to cooperate with you, working with people who like are very, because it's a very collaborative medium. So what you want to do is you want people to work with you to like see the grand idea, and you want to be able to like be fluid with the person. So you want to like go with their ideas, but also have them go with your ideas. So it's not just like one person saying everything, and like it's either my way or no way. You want to have all those different creative inputs and stuff like that. So it's become challenging when people like butt heads with each other, and like they just like petty arguments start. It's just yeah.
Definitely, I can definitely understand like how annoying. So yeah, see clearly. So a little like production thing, like behind the scenes of what I do. So I use Zoom to film these
Yeah.
shows and everything because I
Yeah.
think it's the easiest medium. So what
Mm.
I'll do is I put my like myself on mute while people talk, so that it's like my volume doesn't interfere, and that's
Nice. Yeah.
that's why it's the most production.
No,
I
but like
can't do
you get
this.
it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of like it's hard, like you said, like the collaboration, getting people together. That's very like really difficult. And
Yeah.
like I can understand the monotony of it, like working on a scene, making sure things are right, and like clearly, like okay, what I do is amateur compared to whatever you do. Like this is like low production work, but like today I was editing one of my episodes, and unfortunately because like I'm working with the elements, like clearly that day when I was filming, there's a lot of wind, and like the wind was going into the AirPod that I'm using. So I had to
Yeah.
go inside the my staircase, and there's a lot of echo. It was
Yes.
so hard having to try to isolate like whatever I could forage out of what I was saying from the echo,
Yeah.
and even still, like it was still isn't coming out perfect. So I can't even imagine. And I was just like, it's supposed to be on IGTV. No one's really gonna watch this. I'm not gonna get like an Emmy for this. Let me just put it. It's fine. It is what it is. So I can't even imagine like having to work on a film where you're like, okay, this is something that's gonna be for Netflix or like a big major like media
Yeah.
company or like a movie, and having to like meticulously work on every single scene and like making sure like this person's voice is clear, this like scene looks right, this transition works right. So I can't even
Yeah.
imagine the work that goes into it. And like yeah, like it's getting to people to like see your vision, you know what I mean? Like it like
Yeah.
how is that like let's say like you're strongly like in support of like going in this direction, but then your colleague wants to do a different thing. Like how do you
Yeah.
navigate that challenge and keeping your like integrity and your working like as much of your work and your voice as you can in your products?
So it's all. I mean, it's all about collaboration. At When it comes to like movie making and like TV making, at it's really the like director's vision, and it's the director of photography, so the cameraman who like kind of tries to paint it together, and then it's the editor who like puts it all together. The producer's the one who organizes everything. So really, like what you're trying to do is you're trying to go off the director's vision with using the shot that the director of photographer used, and it's I don't know, it's tough. One of the best advice that I was given from one of my teachers, he told me if you're in the editing suite with the director and he tells you to put or like to do a certain edit with a cut, and it's not going to work, don't tell them it's not going to work. Show them that it's not going to work. So just like go ahead and go with the director. Tell or like show them, do what they're asking, and then show them why it's not going to work. As opposed to just be like, no, it's not going to work. We can't do this. So like you have to be open minded to doing new things and to doing things that you might not want to do. There's this podcast, this episode that I was listening to, a storytelling podcast about a woman who wrote a song for Willie Nelson, and she had it on the tune of like the train song, so like doom ticka doom ticka doom, right? And then but like Willie heard it a different way, so then when they were in the studio, they played it that different way. and the woman just like she felt like embarrassed for the song, and she didn't think it would be a number one hit. But sure enough, it went to number one, and then she was like, you know what, it was their vision, and like it came to life and it worked. It like so even though people have a different way of viewing things, that way might be right as well, just like your way.
No, definitely. I like. Okay, I don't know how accurate this historical account is because I don't also not understand. But like, okay, have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody? It's the Rami Malek
Yeah,
and like. Okay, there's a scene where they're like taping Bohemian Rhapsody, and like the producer's like, no, this is never gonna work. Like
yeah,
this doesn't
yeah,
make sense. Why put in the opera? It's too long. And then there's like that whole like, oh, Freddie's like fighting for this song to be put out. And I mean,
yeah.
clearly Bohemian. I mean, I don't know how accurate that was. I don't know if it really played out like that. But I mean, you can see like taking a risk on something like Bohemian Rhapsody, 6 minutes long, it works out, and
Of
you just have to
course.
be open to it with art, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
it's like one of the reasons why I don't think I could be an artist because I have no like I don't know how to think outside the box. Like,
yeah,
this is why I
yeah.
chose law, where it's like so traditional, and I didn't choose the artistic field. But like, I admire people who do it. So like, what does it mean to take risks for you? Like, you're one of your favorite artists. I mean, being from Chicago is Kanye West, and he's taken a lot of risks with his artistic and musical career. And you have
Definitely.
Yeezy, Yeezus that was like one
Yeah.
album, and then you had like my dark twisted with like I can't even remember. Oh my god, I'm
My
horrible.
beautiful
My
dark twisted fan.
That's my favorite album from that was like so it's like
It was
but like
so
taking
good. Yeah.
chances it's so good. Like it was like changing from like his old school like college like graduation and college dropout to doing like more of like a darker theme with that the My Dark Beautiful Twisted Fantasy and then doing Yeezus. Like
Yeah.
those were risks, those were changes in song and all of that. So what does it mean for you to take risk and like as being an artist, whether doing film or photography, and like how do you get over that fear of like because you're gonna get feedback from people. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's like
Of course.
the critique is so like scary to me at least. So it's like how do you deal with all of that?
It's so it's definitely challenging. One thing that I always telling myself, like when I'm out with my camera and like I see something like in a so have you ever seen like the like abandoned warehouses and like people are taking pictures and stuff like that through there?
Yeah, I love
They're all
those.
taking right. But they're all taking risks like going in there by like they could get arrested or they could just get a ticket, and it's all about like is it worth it to you? Do you think like the reward's gonna outweigh the risk at the end of the day? So I think that's a big motivation for me is to like when it comes to spending a little extra money, taking a chance, or just like moving out of like getting out of your comfort zone as well. Like moving from Chicago here was a huge move for me. I I was devastated because I didn't know anyone, and like the only thing that I knew was Chicago. But I was just so comfortable there, and I knew if I stayed there, I would have nothing would have like transpired in my life. Nothing would have happened, and I would have just continued to do the same thing over and over again. So it means a lot, and then it's just all about like doing it. Like you have to just get into a mental state and tell yourself like I got this, I got this, I got this, and that's what worked for me. But I mean, I can't speak for everyone. Like it'll work differently for everyone else, stuff like that. But it's just pretty much you know telling myself that like I have this, nothing's gonna nothing terrible is gonna happen. Like just keep pushing.
Wow, that's amazing advice. Like and it is a risk. Like I feel the same way. Like I've lived in New York for 26 years now, and it's like I probably like never lived elsewhere with the exception of like brief summer intern stints in DC. So like
Yeah,
it's I commend you for like okay, yeah, bye Chicago. I'm gonna come to New York City, and like I mean I'm kind of biased, obviously. New York. I mean, most cities have a lot to do. There's like there are a lot of subjects to cover and things like that. But like to make that jump, like I'm gonna come to the city and like work on my dreams and passions. That's amazing, and that is the risk. Like and like you're making yourself vulnerable, putting yourself out there, and like it's hard to do. It's not even just for an artist, but just for a person, like in general. So it's like super cool. Um, so like you do shoot. So like okay, from my understanding, what you do is like a lot of traditional stuff. But you do like traditional like things on like shooting on like a traditional camera, doing things like doing production for like movies and films in a traditional way. But like obviously now media like I don't want to say like anyone can do it, but it's more accessible to like different types of people, right? You have
Yeah.
YouTube being a thing, Instagram stars, now TikTok, especially nowadays. TikTok, I don't know, that's a
Yeah.
new medium of content creation. So like, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about how media is going, like the direction that's going in when it comes to like producing content, not for just like the big screen, like TV or movies, but something like Netflix, something like Instagram, something like TikTok or YouTube. Like, what do you think about that and how media is going in that direction?
So really, I mean, I think I honestly think it's great. Like I think it's awesome because it is more accessible to people. I mean, if we were if we were what, like 20, I guess, yeah, even like 20 years ago, if I were to be the same age and the same position, I don't think I would have the equipment that I have now accessible to me back then. So it's cool to have, people giving everyone a fair chance to do it and stuff like that, to make a living and to do everything that they can. It gets more people creative, gets more people going, and you get to see a lot of cool things like transpire out of people having access to these things.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things like that it's inspiring people to do, especially in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, including me, is like starting to produce their own content and like starting to do
Yeah.
more creative things. Like I saw like there was in Brooklyn this guy who takes his camera and takes pictures of people on their rooftops to document what life is during the pandemic. And I've seen, people really go out there and make content to kind of document, in real time New York City New York City or just like around the world, how it's like during this like weird, odd era in our lives. So like, have you been working on anything creative like during this time? Like, what have you been doing to I mean, like, and it's okay if you haven't because it's also fair
Yeah.
to take rest like seriously. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to create content, but like, what have you been working on anything like cool during this time or anything that like you've covered during this pandemic?
So what I've been doing, Rachel, like my girlfriend, she's been a huge like motivator in this whole entire process. She's been writing scripts and we've been shooting them as of recently. So right now that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of editing our second clip, our second short, but that's pretty much what I have been doing. So like anything that she's writing up, then we'll just go back and forth with the banter and stuff like that. The hardest challenge that I've come with that is being in front of the camera because I'm so used to being behind the camera. So like actually being in front and acting, it's come as a huge challenge for me. But yeah, I'm gonna say that's pretty much what I've been working on for the most part. And then outside of that, like running and stuff.
That's like super cool. I didn't even know like that's I like that is so cool that you and Rachel are doing that and like it's such
Yeah.
a creative way to do things. I can imagine like being in front. I mean, I have clearly no stage presence. I'm still working on it for this show because I'm still so awkward. But it's so hard.
Oh,
Like
you're good. You're good.
it's like it's weird because like I am working with friends and like
Yeah.
for the most part it's been easy. I've been able to get content out, but I'm still there like there's still the likes, like my hands, like it's in front is so hard. Like I
It's
don't
it
know.
it's different, especially like when you have to, or like when you don't have anything to hold, and it's just like singular and just you in front of the camera. It's tough. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and then like worse. Okay, I don't know if you. I don't think you have this problem because you're not annoying. But I have to me the most annoying, excruciatingly painful to listen to voice. So having to rewatch my footage and edit it.
Uh,
Oh my god, it's the worst. I'm like, oh, why do I sound like that?
May I know exactly what you mean. Well, because like so mine, like you could hear the bass in my voice, but then it's also like nasally on the top. So like when I'm going to edit each clip, I'm just like, oh god. But it's also like because we take different shots of each clip. So it's like I do one scene and then Rachel's like, all right, nice. So let's do it again, except let's do it a little different. And I'll do it the same way. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, how do I do it a different way? And like I know what I'm saying. I know just like, well, just do it a different way. Just act it out. I'm like, well, I don't know how to act it out. It's tough for me.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. I mean, like that. Like no, but yeah, it's hard. Like that's like the cringiest thing anyone can do. Like as like a content creator, re-listening to your voice. But it's super cool
Yeah.
that you and Rachel, your girlfriend, you're like doing this like project together and like being creative
Yeah.
with each other during this time. Like that's so awesome. So, all right, I'm gonna ask you probably the most controversial question.
Okay.
because most of my viewers are from New York, because I'm from New York. All right. So, all right. I'm asking the most controversial question, and to be fair, I've never had the second option. I've only had the first.
Okay,
But which one is better? New York style, like a thin crust pizza, or Chicago deep dish? And be honest.
I'll be honest. I'll be
I know you
honest.
like pizza because my friend
Yeah.
tells me that you guys go get pizza together a lot. So like, I know you have an opinion.
I love pizza. So one thing about deep dish pizza that a lot of people will probably agree on me with this, it's a gimmick. Like it's just all it is just like a bunch of cheese and then like a lot of dough. So it's heavy. It's really heavy. So like eating that, you'll be comatose afterwards. So when it comes to New York style pizza versus deep dish, I'm gonna go New York style pizza. However, Chicago thin crust pizza is unmatched. It's so good. You should definitely try it. Like if you're in Chicago and you're at Giordano's or something, get the thin crust pizza. Or you can go to like smaller restaurants as well. But Pequod's is the best in Chicago, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna say Pequod's is my favorite, but it's more pan pizza than deep dish.
Oh my god! So I've actually never had deep dish. Okay, so I went to Chicago once in my life, and it was like, and it was my best. It was my favorite vacation. I'm not even
Yeah,
saying this because I'm talking to you right now. But if
yeah,
something happens to New York, like I'm a ride or die New Yorker. Like I want to die in New
yeah,
York. But if like God forbid, we can't live here anymore. The city of
yeah,
my choice, number two, would be Chicago because it's
yeah,
similar to New York City. It's very like it's like the same aesthetic, the same vibe. I went there when I was
yeah,
12 years old because King decided to come to the Field. Is it the Field Museum? The
yeah.
big, yeah. And like I was
We have
like,
the Field
yes, this is
Museum
my
and Chicago Art Institute. That's like the biggest one that we have.
ah. Okay, so
But
like
it's all fine art.
that's literally like my favorite city. Well, and I've only went there when I was 12. So like I didn't
Yeah,
get the pizza. We like skipped on that, but I don't know why. I think
that's fine.
because it was like because we only spent 2 days there. It was like the mid. My mom did a whole Midwest thing. We spent 2 days in Chicago. The first day was like mostly us waiting online for that exhibit. So I guess that's why we didn't get the food. But I mean, regardless, I did have your hot dogs. Oh my gosh, Chicago, the hot
They're good.
dogs. Oh God. Okay, but I need to go back. Whenever I go back, I need you to give me like a list of like places to go because like I do now know like a person, a Chicagoan. I don't even know how to pronounce it. A Chicagoan.
Yeah,
I don't
Chicago.
know. Chicago. Now that I know one of you all, like I can get a list and like I want to know. Okay, now I need to try the thin crust and the pan and the deep dish. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Thank you for the rec.
Oh,
Okay, yeah,
my favorite bar in Chicago. It's on the south side called Duck Inn.
duck
It's
in.
my favorite bar. Yeah, it's super like mid century modern. Like I don't know. It reminds me of like someone's basement type deal. It's nuts. It's a cool bar.
Okay, I gotta go. So duck in, and then I need all the pizza list because like that's okay. After this pandemic, it's time to travel. Like I can't like we can't
Well,
do this anymore.
and in Manhattan, you have a great like Chicago spot for like deep dish pizza called Emmett's, and
Really,
it's so
Emmett?
good. Yeah, it's so good. It's in Manhattan. It's on where is it?
Oh.
It's on like Thompson. It's right off Houston, like Thompson and King Street or something like that.
Oh, okay. Because okay, so our friend, like, okay, so me and
Yeah,
Matt have like a mutual friend. He tells me that like you guys go down to that like to West Village a lot to eat pizza and things like that. So is that the spot, Emmett? Is that the one I should check out?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So now I know
You
because
have
yeah,
to.
because I was
It's
like,
so good.
I was like, which I was gonna ask you that question. I was like, what is your favorite pizza spot in New York City? And I feel like you probably answered it
Yeah.
with
Oh,
that
it's
one
definitely
question.
Emmett's. Yeah.
Emmett. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. So that's all. That was like cool. I was like, I needed to hear your opinion because like I've never had deep dish, but there's like this big war, like New York style pizza versus deep dish. And I feel like I've never had the other one, but I think they're too different for me to really like to even be compared to. Like I feel like they all have their own like good
Yeah.
qualities of it, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a pizza connoisseur, so I don't know.
well, now you have like a lot of what's really hype right now. Like a lot of people love the Detroit style pizza, like the square slices. So like what is it? Lines, tigers, and squares. And then we have a place called Low Fidelity, and that has a nice like Detroit style pizza to it. But yeah, a lot of people are digging the Detroit style. It's like just pan pizza. It's good.
It's a Detroit. Okay, so you really are the pizza expert. Like I feel like for
Oh, I
me,
love pizza.
I bring New York to shame because I don't even like. I feel like I've had the Giulianas and the Grimaldis, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. I have my local pizza spot down this like in Brooklyn, But
Yeah.
then my favorite pizza spot, and you're gonna kill me for this. Like I feel like I'm gonna get my New York heart removed.
Is
Artichoke
it
pizza.
Domino's? I feel like artichoke isn't bad.
Oh my god, no! Artichoke pizza. The crab slice is like it is. That's my like. I love the crab slice from artichoke pizza and the artichoke pizza itself, but they're like this big and like
Yeah.
it's like yeah. I'm embarrassing. I know it's like of course I like the chain artichoke pizza, but anyway, post pandemic I'm running to get that because that's like one of the my pandemic craving foods right now. Oh my god. So okay, so our favorite topic to talk about because I feel like
Yes.
if I had to talk about this one topic with one person on this podcast, it has to be you. And clearly, this is why I wore the shirt. All right. So the biggest, most controversial question in all of Simpsons fandom. Okay, so first one. What do you consider the golden era of The Simpsons?
Season 3 through season 8.
Oh, you didn't even count season 1 and 2. Why is that?
I feel like they're just starting to like kind of feel themselves out and stuff like that, and they're like just getting started. But like season 3, they really hit a good stride. Like they started running. Yeah.
Season 3. Yeah, I agree. Season 3 to 8 is there because I feel like that's where all the classic episodes were, right? You had like
Exactly.
you had the monorail episode, you had the
Yes.
like the Team Homer, you've had the Homer and the B Sharps episode in season 5, the Apu and Quickie Mart. Like there was like every classic joke that people now see on the memes and stuff.
Yeah.
We're all in those like the 3 to 8 seasons. So it's like these like they are influential in a way because now mainstream media is like taking into account. But okay, you're gonna hate me for saying this. I feel like I get a lot of beef for saying this in the Simpsons fan community. Okay, I feel like season 1 through 8 is like obviously what people treasure the most and things like that.
Yeah.
But okay, so I was born in 94, so that's like a good chunk, so like 80, 89, 94. That was like a big chunk of time already that The Simpsons has been on. So when I like really started to watch it, it was like 9 through, I think 9 through, season 9 through like 13, 14 was still playing.
And that's
so
when you think it was like the golden age?
Not the gold. No, that's not the golden age. No.
I was like, all right,
I can agree. Oh, no, not that controversial. I can agree that 1 to 8 definitely are the better seasons, but I don't mind. I can tolerate the 9 to 14. And as much of a Simpsons fan as I am, and I still watch the newer episodes. I don't really like the newer stuff. I feel like I can't. I'll watch it once, but I can't rewatch it like the old ones. Like they do with the old ones. Like I can't. Like I feel like, and like people say, and I like it's like the most heart wrenching material does come from those seasons. Like okay, like going back to like art and our conversation about like impactful art, right? I think for me. I don't know what your rationale is for like liking The Simpsons so much, but I feel for me it has like a special place in my heart. A lot of these episodes like do touch my soul in some type of way. Like I know for me, like okay, so my favorite episode of all time of The Simpsons is Lisa's Substitute. I think that's I think that's the first episode of season 2. So I obviously like growing up, I related a lot to Lisa. Like I was like an opinionated, like outspoken girl. Like I was like the smartest girl in my class. Like, and I was Lisa Simpson, and I think a part of me is still am. And like I didn't have a lot of friends like she did, so I kind of related to her growing up. And I think like Lisa's Substitute really like stabbed me in the heart because like obviously when you're Lisa, you also kind of have like self-doubt issues, and like Mr. Bergstrom was like the first person, at least for her, was like who supported her, and like that like note kills me, like that like ending where he's like you are Lisa Simpson. That will forever be like one thing I'll always take into consideration. Like okay, like it doesn't like you can replace it with like whatever name you want, like you are you, and like I think that's what stabs me in the heart the most. And there's a lot of episodes like that, like where it just stabs you in the heart. I clearly like Simpsons has like a lot of mental value for me, and I was just wondering, like for you, like since you're such a big fan as well, why do you like? What was your reason for liking the show?
So it's it's pretty much the same thing. So that you're saying, like, I grew up with The Simpsons. So like I was born in '91, and I grew up with it, and I just remember connecting with the characters at a young age. But like also when you're a little kid, you're just watching for like the I don't know, the slapstick humor and stuff like that, and the bright colors. And it's funny, but like as I grew up, I remember like my teenage years, I'd still watched it, but it was like just to watch something, just to watch something. But then like once I started becoming more of an adult, then I'd find myself like going back to The Simpsons, so rewatching episodes and like starting to have an actual connection with these characters, and like remembering myself back from when I was younger watching it, and like how I was connecting with Bart and Lisa, or like connecting with and like now connecting with Homer and Marge. Crazy enough, but like one of my favorite episodes is Summer of 4'2", where the Simpsons got a little fog Metis cleanse that part. Oh, I butchered that name. I know I did, but it was just like I love seeing like Lisa's coming into herself, like changing herself to who she like thought everyone wanted her to be, and then like if her finding out like kids would like her for who they are or for who she was, and like at the end of the day, it's the same thing with Europe, so with the season 2. It's just like just be yourself, and like people will become your friend and stuff like that, as long as you're not an asshole and stuff. But it still has still has one of my favorite lines where Homer is like now to purchase some illegal fireworks, where he goes is like some panty shields and some illegal fireworks and some animals. Make it 2. Or, wait, he's like he said something I can't remember exactly. And then when Homer, Marge, Bart, and Milhouse are all playing the game, it was like,
Got
you
the
got the gun! He looks like you, Poindexter. Milhouse had some great lines. And like when Lisa and Bart like first started fighting, Lisa was like, I will end you. He's like, ooh, kids, there's a carnival in town. And Milhouse, a carnival.
And like he really got the short end of the stick in that episode, because you had like Lisa and Bart, like he was in the middle of them like fighting. So it was like I love that. I actually have a shirt. I was deciding between that shirt and this shirt today. Yeah. So this shirt says, it's like a black tee, and it has like a little post-it note on it, because you know Flanders has a little post-it note. It says, yeah. Put food in me. So that's like
so funny.
It's like the best. Like, so that's like the thing about The Simpsons. I think like you mentioned it, you had like, I think the slapstick humor, and also the little details that you'll see in like in the show that do people laugh. Like, I know like there's a lot of like niche like Instagram accounts devoted to like not even just like the aesthetic artwork of the Simpsons, but also like the little like inside jokes like you'll see these, and like the memorable lines. And I think that's what makes the show like so great overall. And like you're right, it's so weird because like as a kid, like I'm watching like, okay, so one of the first, I think the first episode I saw The Simpsons, and you're gonna laugh, it's Springfield Files in season 8, where Homer finds the alien, and it's like the X-Files parody. And for some reason, that episode, I think it was so like weird and strange, and like I won't lie, it did scare me a little bit as a kid, but that's what I remember hooked me onto the show. Like I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I became like addicted. Like I was, oh my god, this is it. But growing up, like now that I'm older, and like, I watch The Simpsons every night before bed as like my nighttime routine. Like this has been a thing since like I was younger. But like watching it now as an adult, like revisiting it, and I don't really feel like I have to revisit it because I watch it all day. So like, did I really leave? Yeah. But it's weird because like as a kid I related to Lisa so much, but then I started to relate to Homer, and like I'm not so much Marge, but I'm definitely a Homer. Like clearly, like between my drinking and eating habits, the sleeping habits, like my favorite joke is when he's like, and this is like a later seasons episode, it's like season 9 where he's like in bed, he's like, ooh, I love these lazy Saturdays, and he's just like, Marge comes in, like, it's Wednesday, and he's like, oh, like, I think like Homer is so like, I think he has like these like stupid gags and these things, but like, I think older, I see the way that like Bart and not Bart, Marge and Homer are actually like really great parents to their kids. Like,
Yeah.
and seeing like how much like sacrifice like Homer, like even if he doesn't care about Lisa, like he does, and it's like
He does. He
it's
really does.
yeah, like he like worked at the Quickie Mart for like hours on end just to make sure Lisa has her little pony. He's like snuck into the museum to like make sure like she gets to see like the orb of Isis. She's like, and then like I don't know, I just like relate that to like my own relationship with my parents, like being like an immigrant kid, being in America, like for the first like your first generation American. You don't really relate to your parents a lot of things, but like
Yeah.
I think The Simpsons has like allowed me to appreciate like you and your parents may be totally different from you fundamentally and like things like that, but they're always gonna care for you no matter what in their own weird way. And I think like that's they taught me a lot. Like I'm like making my kids watch The Simpsons. Like I don't even care like how like I will put on Disney Plus for them and like I'll make them watch it and yeah like I don't know. It's like one of the best shows. I'm so grateful for it. It's like I'm still waiting for Matt Groening to fulfill my request of letting me tour the studio, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So, well, not him, but like I've like bombed their Instagram account, but they haven't had an answer. So okay. So who's your favorite? Okay. Who's your favorite character of The Simpsons, and who's your favorite side character? Like everyone has those too.
So my favorite character. Oh, that's tough. I'm probably just gonna go with Homer because I do think Homer has like a lot of classic lines, and he's obviously a main focus in the show, and he's one of the biggest characters. But side characters, would you consider Moses like a side character? Or would you consider him?
Yes.
I was like,
well, that's not. I feel. Oh, I mean, sorry. When I say main, I mean like okay. I think for casual, okay, like for big Simpsons fans, he's definitely a main character. But I think for like a casual viewer, I would say like I think people think like the main Simpsons cast is like the main characters. I don't know. And no counts for this purposes.
So then what I would say. So I won't consider Moses like I will go. Hold on, give me 1 second. 1 second. wait.
I'm laughing.
Why am I drawing a blank? Miguel Sanchez. Don't tell me.
Sanchez! Oh, wait, I know it. I'm out of thing, but I know it because this is the lawyer that I am.
I know. Oh God. All right.
You know this.
Mike, I know this, and it's gonna haunt me.
Let me know when you give him, because I'm ready.
I give up.
Lionel Hutz.
Lionel Hutz. How did I forget? I'm so upset.
Springfield's best lawyer. When I think of Lionel Hutz, I'm just like, the blue-haired lawyer is the lawyer that I want to be, but I actually am Lionel Hutz. You know what's funny? Now that I'm in like the legal profession, there are more Lionel Hutzes than you think out there. I'm gonna let you know that kind of like scares me. So for people who don't know, Lionel Hutz is basically a lawyer he's a caricature of a lawyer in The Simpsons, but like a really incompetent one, like screws up everything. But there's a lot of humor in him that like oh my god, this guy is like, and it sucks as like Phil Hartman like did have a tragic death.
Rest in peace.
Like literally, like he had some of the best characters though. He had Troy McClure, he had Lionel Hutz, and then there was like another couple. Like he voiced like one of the best, like some of the best side characters in The Simpsons.
Is there Orange Julius around? I'll tell you this one. It's almost full. Or I drink out of the toilet. It'll be bad.
You know what's funny? In law school, I think one of my professors put up like the no contingency. And it was like a lesson of like why words matter, but that was awesome. And actually, literally, that's the lesson they use for us, and it's like the best thing. I mean, no one gets it, like no one can appreciate it. So every time there's a Simpsons joke, I'm like, oh my god, yes, and everyone looks at me like, what, like. No, really?
Dying.
You know what it is? Yeah. Real Simpsons fans will know that the show is not just the humor, but then like things like the little things. It's, like I think that's what separates a casual viewer of The Simpsons to like a true Simpsons fan. Like this is it. Like, is it sad? So like speaking of Moses Black, okay. Yeah. So is it bad? But as I got older, I started to relate to the following characters: Moses Black, and the krabappel.
No, I feel like Edna Krabappel's a very relatable character. Moses, like, on the other hand, I don't know about that one. He's like, please put some shoes on. What, you don't like my bags?
Oh no! Wait, it's like I like every time I watch like those three, like Mo, Edna, and then the Bouvier twins, like
Yeah.
Selma and Patty. I'm like, I really grew up to be them. Like, that's like a combination of all three. There's a lot of like Krabappel. She's like, I think she goes back home and she's like, like something like soup for one, dessert for one, wine for three. Like literally, that's me.
Yeah.
Like, like, that's my whole mood, and I'm just like thinking to myself, like, wait, I really wanted to be Lisa, but I grew up to be Edna Krabappel. I can't.
Oh, man.
It was like my life. But yeah, no, like honestly, like we can go on about like how iconic this show is and how amazing it's been, and it's touched so many lives. It's not like predicting the future, but like I think it's not even because of that. I think it's because like the Simpsons writers do have to look into pop culture and like things eventually start to like click, and they just gotta predict the future because of the knowledge that they have. You know what I mean? And like the people that work in that studio are like super intelligent, like math majors and PhDs, and like there's a whole bunch of like I suck at math, so like I will never be able to get like the millions of like math jokes that they have in there. So like whoever knows math and like can watch all the jokes, like please explain to me because I don't know. I'm like, oh my god. But oh my god, man, we're coming up on our hour, and like thank you so much for like spending the hour with me on your rooftop. Like that's awesome.
Thank you.
So like before we wrap, is there anything that you want to promote? Like, you know, you have your photography, you have your filmmaking, like something. Like, is there a place where everyone can see that, or something that you want to promote or want to talk about before we wrap up?
I was like, nothing really that I'm promoting. The only things that I will promote, my buddy Trevor, C. Trevor. He will send you pieces of his work for $3 from Chicago. My other buddy, Alexis McCoy, Love Is Enough Productions. She is doing some productions and interviews similar to this on her Instagram channel as well. But like as for me, no, nothing really, man. And just support.
Can I drop the handle though? Can I drop the
the Matthew T. Ramirez. So if you are interested in seeing my work, it's Matthew T. Ramirez on Instagram.
And he takes the best photos, and I'm still waiting for the day where Matt is like, hey, Meg, do you want to do a photo shoot together? And I'm like, yeah, Matt, I'm down. Let's go. Let's do it. I'll come to Jersey City. Let's go. Like, we will do it together. But waiting for the day. I'm going to wait for that day. I'm waiting. But actually, I know we're wrapping up, but like, I want to hear your opinion on this, and it's like a 2-second question.
Yeah.
You dropped a lot of names of different artists, you know, and things like that. COVID-19 has really, really impacted lots of talented artists, and like in terms of like people looking for work, and like, you know, a lot of like nightlife is gone, so a lot of musicians don't have gigs and things like that. What is the best way for us to support the arts at this time? Like, what's the best way for people to support local artists, independent artists, during this time?
I think the best way is just like by making contributions, donations, or like whatever. If there is like a local artist that you are following, just reaching out to them, seeing how like you can support them, purchasing their work. I know like when it comes to musicians and stuff like that, they have albums on Bandcamp every Friday. All the proceeds goes towards the labels and towards the artist, 100% of the proceeds. So I always recommend doing that as well, purchasing music straight from there. And yeah, just going straight to the source as opposed to going through like third parties as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. And like, yes, I agree. Like, everyone, please support your local artists, your local, you know, photographers, and buy their work. And if you can't, you know, if money's a little tight, because I know, you know, we're all financially struggling, share their work. It's free. It's easy. Like, beat the algorithm on Instagram. Like, share all these artists, and every artist that Matt has like talked about in the show, I will include in the bio. So please check out their work. Matt's a talented guy, and he has lots of talented friends. And I'm so happy that he's able to join me. Matt means the world to me. This guy is like, honestly, before we wrap, like, I don't think I would have survived retail without Matt. Like, I think I would have like I dreaded coming to work every day because I worked like 5 days a
same.
week because I didn't do
Yeah.
anything. And then every time I would see Matt, like my eyes lit up. I was like, yes, hi, thank you. Oh my God. Like I could breathe. It was like you, the two girls I hung out with were like the three people that really like held it down for me at thing. And I was just like, yes, these are my people. And I still talk to them like through you. So I really appreciate it. And like our mutual friend. I feel like I gotta give him some credit too. I feel like I can't shade him on the I don't think he wants he definitely does not tune in, but I cannot shade him, so I'll just give him a little credit there. Anyway. Matt, thank you so much. I cannot wait to hopefully do these photo shoots. I'm dropping some hints out. Hopefully do these photo shoots with you by pandemic. And we gotta grab my tea. I cannot wait to see you in person, and thank you for everything, Matt. You're the best. All right, see you soon. Bye.
You're the best. See ya.